Okay, what's up, guys? I haven't made a video in a long time. I just wanted to get some things off my chest. Patriots Nation does not care about winning. Not next year, not the year after, not the year after that. The only thing the Pats fans, reporters, and the owners care about is having a quarterback to worship. Okay? Drake May wasn't drafted to put us in a position to win more next year or the year after that or the year after that. That's not why he's here. He's here so that people have someone to worship. It's the weirdest thing, guys. Like Bill Belichick, when he was old, last couple of years, definitely lost his fastball, but it's like nobody remembers the younger Bill Belichick or even this recent Super Bowl with the Chiefs and the 49ers. It's the two best defenses built around defense. Like with the Chiefs letting Tyreek Hill leave and all this other stuff. Like they focused on their defense. It's about having a great defense. It's about nailing your draft picks. And then culture and, certainly a competent, accurate quarterback. And if he can run around like Pat Mahomes and Brock Purdy both could, then that's a plus. Or it's a big thing, but a couple extra inches, and the weird thing is, Drake May is not even close to the athlete that JJ McCarthy is. Agility in the pocket, that's another quarterback trait that Pat Mahomes and Brock Purdy were great at. And so it's weird. You go back 2 years ago, and the Patriots are like losing every game with Mac Jones. Bailey Zappi goes in, and we turn it around like instantly. And everybody's so confused because it was never about winning. It was about worshiping Mac Jones. So this takes me right back to the Kyrie Irving days with the Celtics, where it was never about winning. And even after Kyrie helped sabotage 2 straight seasons in the playoffs, one by leaving the team when he wasn't even dressed up because they were up 2-0 on LeBron James and the Cavs. Even after he screwed us over intentionally on the court, the second year in a row in the playoffs, you had all these fans and reporters who still wanted to pay Kyrie the max contract to do it all over again. Just like he went on to do with the Brooklyn Nets, right? It was never about winning with Kyrie. And with Patriots fans, it's only about worshiping a quarterback. You only want to win one way, if it's having a quarterback you can worship. So, just like last year, going into the season, Bill Belichick wanted to trade away Mac Jones. He knew he couldn't win with him. Bob Kraft said, "No, you're keeping him. Just make it work." He said, "I don't care. Just make it work." So we had the worst Patriots season in 25 years? 30 years? Something crazy like that? And Patriots fans supported it every step of the way, guys. No matter how bad it was, for the second year in a row, nobody wanted to see anybody but Mac Jones play quarterback. Just make it work. I just want to watch Mac Jones. So you have a totally irrational fan base and ownership. Ownership calling the shots. And because the fans are just as pathetic as the owners, they go right along with it. So we all know that. And another thing is the reporters, it was so awful to cover the Patriots team last year, even as the Patriots were doing exactly what the reporters were all instructing and desiring, which was to put Mac Jones out there every single week, no matter what happened, as that all fell apart and blew up in their face, the team became absolutely miserable to cover. Okay, so coming off of that total misery, which was just like the Kyrie Irving days with the Celtics, totally miserable. Extremely talented roster, totally dysfunctional, and totally miserable to cover for it. And then they just. So right now you have these reporters trying to convince themselves that Jonathan Kraft and Bob Kraft did not call the shots and did not weigh in on the front office, which is just totally ridiculous and delusional. Okay, and there's no reason to think highly at all of either of those crafts and their knowledge of football or their instincts. Okay, Bob Kraft wants a quarterback to be like his son, right? He doesn't want any quarterback competition. He doesn't want the best quarterback to play and win. He doesn't want to draft the quarterback that can best put us in a position to win. He wants a quarterback like a son and just make it work. Just like with Mac Jones last year. We got to bring Mac Jones back. Just make it work, Bill Belichick. And then we see how it all blows up in their faces. And now it's, we got to draft a quarterback at 3. It can't be J.J. McCarthy because the fan base will riot. So it's got to be Drake May. Just make it work. He's not ready. He needs a lot more time, and he needs a lot more weapons, and he needs a lot more protection. Just make it work. So the whole rest of the draft, guys, it didn't matter. As soon as the Pats fans and the owners and the reporters got their quarterback that they can worship at the 3rd pick, they would have rationalized and defended every single pick, no matter who it was. Because it was never about winning, guys. It was always about having the quarterback to worship. So if these 2 wide receivers had been totally different names, they would have said, oh yeah, that's great. He fits perfectly. So Drake May, guys, he's an inaccurate quarterback who has brain farts that verge on the yips. I just watched the every pass of the Clemson game from his 2022 season, which is his claim to fame that season. And he's throwing 2 terrible interceptions in the end zone, exactly like Mac Jones. Have you ever heard anybody say anything about Drake May's clutch ability? Like, nobody even cares. Right? And he's not even that fast. He's not agile in the pocket. I don't think his pocket presence and spidey sense about pressure coming is very good. He panics and he throws these terrible throws, just like Mac Jones, in the worst situations. So you've got a guy who wasn't ready, who all the experts and former NFL quarterbacks said this guy's got to sit for a year. And you've got Kraft overruling our de facto general manager, Elliott Wolf, saying basically reject any trade down. It's got to be Drake May. If Jaden Daniels goes number 2, it's got to be Drake May at 3. Somebody the fan base will embrace universally and just make it work. So how are we ever going to make it work with a quarterback who's not ready, a quarterback who's inaccurate, a quarterback who might have the yips just like Mac Jones and Zach Wilson? How are we going to just make this work? And then they went about it in the worst way. Like, another thing, guys, is we have the most salary cap room in the league by a good 11 million. It's like $50 million in salary cap space. and none of the needs addressed. Okay, there was like Mike Williams at wide receiver. Like everyone just focuses on the one wide receiver late in the free agency process from Jacksonville, but nobody focuses on any of all the other free agents at every other position that the Patriots tried to nickel and dime and lowball as if they need all this, right? So where's the focus on winning, guys? Was Gerard Mayo the choice? Was he appointed head coach because he gives us the best chance of winning ever? Whether it be this year or next year or in 5 years from now? No, it was that's not why he was appointed coach. So none of this has to do with winning at all. I also have to wonder if the reason they traded down in the second round, I gotta wonder if Lad McConkey, whose name rhymes with honky, right? Another honky from the South to go with our other honky from the South, like drafting two white guys in a row with all the racial issues and dynamics and agenda in our ownership group and our head coach. Like all the reporters, Patriots reporters and fans saying that the Patriots had an A or a B in this draft. None of them before the draft were saying, let's draft a fourth round right tackle. In the third round, let's not address the left tackle situation until the third round. And let's overdraft somebody and pretend that that's going to be a solution. Remember last year how they wanted to play Mike Onwenu at guard and they had a bunch of end of the roster guys at right tackle and they said, "Oh yeah, we've got it covered because surely one of these guys will work out," even though none of them were like playable. That's what this is at left tackle. It's we got a couple guys to throw at the situation. They're both right tackles, but surely one of these total Jags will work out at left tackle, the most important position to protect our rookie quarterback who sort of wilted under pressure all of last year and who wilted under the pressure in the biggest moments in the year before that, who's not agile in the pocket. Like why do people even call Drake May athletic? Athletic compared to what? Tom Brady? I mean, is he even more athletic than Mac Jones, guys? And if so, in what way? Like being willing to run more and putting a shoulder down and taking contact? I mean, that's tough, but is that actual athleticism? No. So there's nothing about this. Jalen Polk, like nobody was saying, let's get a wide receiver who can't create separation, who can't, like with Drake May, an inaccurate quarterback, you want a receiver who he can reliably trust to get separation, to count on, and to throw it in a position where either his receiver can catch it or nobody can. Okay, someone like Brian Thomas, who went 23rd, somebody with a lot of speed, even his college teammate, who went just a couple picks after Javon Baker, a burner with a 4.3 speed who you can throw it out there and either he's going to catch it or it's going to go incomplete. That's the kind of security blanket you give to a inaccurate quarterback. So another thing is I think part of the reason that Elliott Wolf wanted JJ McCarthy is the offense that he's running, it's a lot of dinking and dunking. Okay, kind of like what Tom Brady used to play. Pass heavy, pass quickly, pass decisively, pass accurately, spray it all over the field at short distance. 5 yards here, 3 yards there, to your James White like running back. Another guy, another to the slot. Like over and over and over again, these 5 and 10 yard and 2 yard and behind the line of scrimmage passes. And that's the kind of stuff that Drake May is like terrible at. And all the former quarterbacks were saying he can't make these layup passes consistently. And I think there's something going on mentally, okay? Just like as Mac Jones fell apart, a guy who was so accurate as a rookie and in college, all of a sudden he's throwing it at Ramondre Stevenson's feet and he can't complete, you know, he can't throw it 10 yards to his running back behind the line of scrimmage right next to him. Okay, so as this whole thing sort of, I can just picture it. You've got a raw quarterback who doesn't fit the offensive system, who's got gaping flaws that actually limit his ceiling a lot more than people want to admit. Just like people were goo goo gaga about Mac Jones's ceiling, that he was magically gonna. Remember, they kept talking about how he's transforming his body. Oh, he's throwing it further this year. Oh, couple more years and somehow magically he'll be something he's not. And I think that's it. Like, you don't see inaccurate quarterbacks with bad footwork like become accurate quarterbacks with good footwork. And guys who make brain farts on top of that, who just make head shakingly stupid interceptions right in the end zone like Mac Jones was doing, like you're putting this guy in a position, the worst position, guys. This is the worst scenario. And nobody even cares. Like, nobody even cares if this breaks Drake May, because at least you have your quarterback to worship and nothing else mattered. Like, nobody's even bitching about all the salary cap space we have and how we didn't spend it at any position. Even before the draft, people were ready to throw this entire season away just to get Drake May. Even right now, nobody cares if we go 2-15. So if they somehow knew that they were going to be taking Drake May at 3 for weeks, you do it and you arrange your draft strategy around that pick, obviously, right? You don't, and look what, like, we don't even know if Drake May is going to be better than Bailey Zappi or the other guy, the black quarterback we wasted $8 million on drafting, Jacoby Brissett. So not only do we have $50 million in cap space, guys, but we'd have $58 million if we didn't sign Jacoby Brissett, who's not even an upgrade over Bailey Zappi. And now we have another guy with the third pick, and his floor is like worse than Jacoby Brissett and Bailey Zappi. Like Jalen Polk, like he duplicates the kind of guys we already have with Kendrick Bourne. Even Keyshawn Booty. Like, no one was asking for this kind of wide receiver. And to do it right there with that pick when he possibly could have fallen to the third, or you could have traded down one or two more times. refusing to go back up into the first round to secure at least one of those positions with a legit left tackle or a legit burner wide receiver like Brian Thomas or Xavier Legette. So at no point in this draft, at least outside the first round, did the Patriots like draft the best player available or anywhere close to that. So it's like they had their guys planned out, but way before the draft. And they just got the guys that they had, right? Like they had this all planned out. Like these were guys that they knew with a certainty, and whoever else was falling in the draft or rising, like none of that factored in at all. And just like last year, remember our offensive line coach, Adrian Clem, right? He quits mid-season with the excuse of a health problem, but the real reason appeared to be he had a big blowout with Matt Groh over the quality of our offensive line. Like it was obviously a total trash offensive line. Adrian Clem wasn't afraid to say it because they were like blaming him. They were like, why can't you turn this trash into treasure? And he's like, look what you gave me. So the front office showed it wasn't just Bill Belichick last year. The front office showed, Matt Gross showed, and Elliott Wolf showed. They have this cavalier neglect of the offensive line. Just like 2 years ago, the offense had a lot of problems, including Mac Jones, but not limited to Mac Jones. And then those were supposed to be addressed in the offseason. And then they said, yeah, we're not going to really address that at all. We're going to draft a cornerback in the first round. We're going to draft a defensive end in the second round. Then we're going to draft a safety in the third round. Then we're going to draft a kicker in the fourth round. And all the fans are like, oh yeah, this will work out. Oh yeah, we got Bill O'Brien now. We got Adrian Clem coaching the offensive line. And most importantly, it was about because Mac was back, people rationalized all the rest of the bullshit because they had their quarterback to worship. Sound familiar? They got the quarterback to worship, so they'll defend all of this, guys. And they're already saying, like, even if Drake May does bust and it's a total disaster, well, he was still the right pick. That's what they're saying now. And what they don't realize is that, no, that would be proof that it wasn't the right pick. And it's also proof that you don't care about winning at all. And all you cared about and care about now is having a quarterback to worship. You don't even care if you win games as long as your quarterback has 300 or 350 yards, 400 yards once in a while, and a couple highlight runs once in a while, which he's not going to have very many of in the NFL because he's not an actual athlete, guys. Like J.J. McCarthy is a legit burner for quarterbacks. And everybody will say, and they'll see J.J. McCarthy. Even these Patriots reporters are already predicting J.J. McCarthy wins Rookie of the Year, but they're just pretending that he has an extremely capped ceiling, right? So the guy who's going to win Rookie of the Year over Caleb Williams and Drake May and Jaden Daniels, and he's the youngest of them all, they just declare arbitrarily that even after they predict he wins Rookie of the Year, that his ceiling will magically just be low because they say so. Because he's 6'2.5" instead of 6'4", or because he didn't have the college stats. So they can't worship a guy who didn't have the college stats. Context doesn't matter. None of this matters. So the fact that Drake May was hyped by the mock draft people and the reporters and the pre-draft process, like that's all that matters. So Drake May, if he busts, would still be the right pick. And JJ McCarthy, if he wins Rookie of the Year and goes to the NFC Conference Finals, it still wouldn't have been worth the Patriots trading down to 6 with a contingency that if JJ was there, right? Like we just we just probably pissed away the number 3 pick in the draft with all of this crazy talent on it, guys. Where we could have had traded it for 3 first round picks. Could have transformed the whole franchise to be a second round playoff team at the very least every single year. And even improved our already elite defense. Another thing, the reason why people are ready to piss this whole season away is because they have a bad understanding of how good or bad the Patriots roster actually is. The only reason we had such a bad season, it was 2 positions. It was quarterback with Mac Jones playing the very worst quarterbacking in the entire league, and then we had the very worst place kicker too. And all season long, all these Mac Jones worshipers blaming everybody but Mac Jones every step of the way. So they said that our entire roster is trash. The entire offensive line is trash. All the wide receivers are trash. All the tight ends are trash. All because Mac Jones was playing terrible football. So, like, we had the best or the top 3 defense last year. And the only reason we, like, just playing Bailey Zappi from week 1 last year, we would have made the playoffs. And people would have been kicking and screaming the entire way, saying Mac Jones would have done the same thing or better, right? It was never about winning. It's not about winning this next year. It's not about building a winning culture. It's not about building the franchise to be a highly competent, functional organization that other players, free agents, actually want to play here. None of that matters. You don't hear anybody talking about that. So 2 years ago was pissed away intentionally when they put Mac Jones back as the starter because they just wanted to worship Mac Jones instead of Bailey Zappi to bring us into the playoffs. Last year, didn't matter. They wanted to throw the whole season away just to watch Mac Jones. This year doesn't matter. They just want to see Drake May. The year after that doesn't matter when we're already going to have 3 or 4 losing seasons by that point, drafting in the top 5 again. Like, nothing matters, guys. Nothing matters except quarterback worship. That's the only way you want to win. Think of all the teams who have a franchise quarterback to worship, and they're still not elite teams. It's like most of the league guys. Kyler Murray, like Justin Herbert has never won anything. Like even Lamar Jackson has never won anything. Chokes in the playoffs. Dak Prescott, like you guys would rather be the Ravens or the Cowboys where you lose in the first round of the playoffs every year. But your quarterback who you get to worship has, 4,500 yards or whatever it is and makes the Pro Bowl and the All-Pro and MVP accolades. And then you want to pay that guy $50 million a year so you have no hope of putting together the rest of the... All right, I've said my piece. Later, guys.